we have some things to discuss that were not fully finished when we spoke last night.
May I inquire as to what that would be?
You may not.
I said this very well.
Though I would express disappointment in you. I find it shameful, in a sense, from what little I heard last night, that you think as you do regarding this matter. I would ask you to analyze again what you know of nature and the philosophies of druids, and perhaps reassess your opinion.
Frowned slightly.
But I am not here to judge, only to aid. I would not have come back, were it not otherwise. Or were it otherwise. I will stay. Though I cannot guarantee what may happen to Aelor. Her lips twitch. A vein in her temple throbs.
He nods and says, I imagine he just stops himself and stands up. Says, thank you.
Anything that anyone else wants to do?
Not really.
Be salty.
Okay. Well, the butterfly will eventually, the missing one, return to land on the branch along with its other fellows. That's how a butterfly sounds, by the way, in case none of you know. That's the official.
It can speak. It can sound however it likes.
That's right. It's the official soundboard.
La, 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 la. Flies.
Yep.
No.
Get fucked, Archmage. Get fucked, Archmage.
Woo, hydrate.
Long live nature. Woo. Down with oppression. Woo.
Freedom. Yeah. Well, I suppose Aranas will look at it expectantly.
The butterfly does rub wings together, and words like those of a wind chime come from it. Because, of course, why not butterflies? The butterfly says, the High Druid is willing to aid you in this. But her allies will need some time to prepare for the travel. Although that is not as far of a distance as she had expected you to go.
Yeah, all right. How long will it take?
The butterfly says, unknown. These allies are not known for punctuality, but hopefully by the evening.
Right. It says, then we shall be ready by then.
The butterfly takes off again. High Druid wins, High Druid wins, High Druid wins.
All right. Well, he assumes everyone heard that. So I shall perhaps go inform the superior.
I suppose it might be a good idea if such is done.
As a tent flap, like, eases open. Lord Tempus sits there in his, like, folding chair, like, staring out. With both, like, angry resignation would be the way to
So,
explain
Jasmine,
it.
I suppose you know him better.
Not by much. It is your plan. It's best. You might as well express most of it yourself. Extra expectantly.
Yeah, sure. He'll go and look at the superior and says, "You seem to be in a bad mood, superior."
Nope, love the day. It's great.
Yes, it is. It is perhaps not the most pleasant of sceneries for one such as yourself.
Love it. Can't wait to leave. That way I can appreciate it more.
Might. There is some additional information as to what I told you yesterday. That is that we believe, behind him, the others, that the offer that the High Druid has given us could be done better. As such, we plan to, in this evening, to travel to the Queen's Wood, where we shall inquire about such a potential from the Queen herself, and see if an alliance between the Queen's Wood and the Empire can be brokered to awaken the long-sleeping forces of the elves to aid in the fight against the Lich King, and perhaps to aid in the Empire's negotiations with the Wildwood.
He snorts, but he visibly looks like he has some words that he might want to sass you, but he does not say anything.
Good.
Hmm.
This is, I wished to inform you about this as soon as possible. I have also asked the priestess Aurelia to stay here to continue guarding you.
He then gives a very sour look at Aranas and says, "Really?" He looks, like, past the tent, like, flap at Aurelia.
Says, I thought perhaps also the company would be nice. Frowns.
Yes, company. Great.
Good.
At least it's not an eternity of this forest.
I'm glad you like the decision, Superior. I must admit I am sometimes confused by the humor of Imperial associates.
I make my own choices.
Hudson says, yes. Yes, I imagine you do.
He looks back to Aranas from Aurelia, who hasn't changed her placid look. Is that all, Aranas?
I believe so. Yes.
Great.
Give him a nod and then go.
Don't mind me, got some drinking to do. The tent flap falls.
Yeah, gives a nod to Raptor's leaving with an amused look.
Dixon says, I'm not sure if he's serious all the time or if that's just his way of amusing himself.
Eccentric. But, bit of both, I think.
I see. Perhaps I might spend some time informing you of some things you might want to know about the Queen's Wood, then. It is a place where you shouldn't get lost.
I imagine not. You've described it. Gestures around.
Yes, it is like this, but imagine that there are 3 layers on top of one another, yet you can go from top to bottom without crossing the middle.
I
These
see.
places are the middle wood, the high wood, and the low wood, respectively lived in by the silver folk, the high folk, and the woodland folk. Then, of course, also between them all and part of them all, there is the actual court, Mercurial Wood, which is where the queen stays, and where I grew up. The animals, try not to touch them. They will be around the forest, but they are not natural beings. They are infused with the power and magic of my people, and will act in accordance with the people who live in the wood. I'm sure our peoples have certain reputations that might inform you why deep interaction would be a bad idea. The way of travel functions much as it does here. You will end up going where you desire to go, or where the wood thinks you should go. It is full of ancient magic that have stayed there for generations. Some believe it can be understood, but most accept that it is simply a fact. The court loves outsiders.
Unbloods, I believe we've been referred.
He smiles slightly and says, "Yes, that's right."
What exactly does that mean?
It means that you do not have the blood of the queens.
No. If the court likes outsiders.
They rarely arrive. They rarely find the court to begin with. And sometimes the many politicians can get tired of discussing things only with one another. Outside perspective is very welcomed. Some may see it more as a curiosity, something to be observed. I'm sure it is a long time since, well, any group such as ours has visited the court. We will likely gather a lot of attention for a while. The attention is fickle and will quickly disappear unless we do something to keep it going, or we act quickly to use it to our advantage.
I was not aware that we need to use attention to our advantage.
He shakes his head and says, "We likely do not. With the offer we bring, and sort of frowns slightly, with my presence, we should gather quite a lot of it anyway."
I do not like to play the jester.
Says, "I ask you to do nothing but be yourself." It may seem strange, but there is a deeper meaning to all of it.
Just saying that, however, does not make that statement true.
Says, "I do not believe we'll stay there for long enough for you to understand the ebb and flow of time and experience."
No, I hope not.
It should certainly be interesting to see.
It shall.
Jasmine says with a genuinely curious smile. She's used to normal courts. How's this one going to be?
Not normal at all.
Alright, kids, does the group actually intend, whenever transportation arrives, to leave the Wild Wood and set destination for the Queen's Wood?
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess.
yeah.
Sure.
Avast, we travel.
Alright. That's really what the group wants to do.
No, but
then
I want to capture Aranas and chain him up and throw him to the high road.
Not for that.
I'm wondering. I'm throwing out the thing right now that there's been plenty of other times where Manaki has said that he wanted to do something like go down to the Underdark, and the entire group has done it. So I do want to make sure that the group wants to do something that Manaki has whipped the thrown down the whip for doing.
I mean, completely out of character. We can't really accept the High Druid without Aranas agreeing, because it would be throwing him under the bus.
Why can't you?
Your characters can do that. Chain him up, capture him, feed
Geráck
him to the big bad wolf.
Geráck wouldn't do that, though.
Oh, Aurelia wouldn't do it because Geráck wouldn't do it.
Which just leaves Tempus on his own.
Because Jasmine actually Jasmine... The High Druid's a little bit ruthless. Put it lightly.
Yeah, so this is the only other option.
The unknown one. Which,
If this is what you see as the only other option, then okay. We're going to the Queen's Wood.
Well, we could also stay here and do nothing.
We got punch Ajax.
Oh, there's most assuredly not nothing that's going to be happening here. But okay.
I mean, the rest of us could stay here, but that would mean splitting the party, and
That's gotten well in the past.
I mean, can't we find a way to just send a message? Would that be possible?
Do you have a way?
Or a messenger?
I'm sure there's a way, right?
I don't think so.
Get a
What?
magical carrier pigeon.
Why wouldn't there be a way?
Because travel and information is a big deal around the...
But we're important people with
We
important tasks and
We're
lots
not
of
that-
money.
We're not that important in the woods.
Also keep in mind that Superior Terraptus was asked, and there are severe limitations on travel and communication in the 13th Age system. Well, an icon can fling, spirits and shit. As he noted, he can't send a message spell without knowing the person and having spoken, touched them in the
You
past
need
week.
to, poke them in the weak. And that's kind of limits. I know Dwarf was like, what the shit? This is, not... I don't go around robbing that many people's backs. I began shaking
we
hands
could ask the High Druid. That would mean that she would probably know what the message entails. Yeah, so it's either we all go there or only Aranas goes there.
I could. You could stay here. And he could return when he has found out something.
I would be very reluctant to leave, but if Aranas and very much in a sense Manaki think that this would be a good course of action, then I'm not going to stand in the way of it.
Make a decision based on your own fucking merits, Chief. Damn it.
Well, it's a bad decision and a bad decision. It's throwing Aranas under the bus or going into the unknown, and I really am a very small fan of either.
Tempus doesn't really know Aranas or like him very much. So Tempus is kind of thinking, tying him up, throwing him to the High Druid seems like a practical option. I mean, if he goes to the Isle of Queen, he might not come back. That's Tempus's thinking.
We cannot need his help to get the orb, though, so we can't really do that anyway.
This one is very much on Manaki at the moment. He has
Yeah,
the
we still have a
strings
say
in his
if we
hands,
agree
which he
to it.
likes and hates.
I mean,
I
as
believe.
players, we're completely equal. My character could just go off and, do something and then maybe come back, maybe not. We'll play on with you guys. I would not hold that against you. Just take the decision you think you want to do. Mine is pretty clear, but
Well, Jasmine certainly supports your idea, though she does not see what aid she would grant by going herself, so...
I think Geráck would want to go if the rest of the party goes, at least, because he does want to make sure that Aranas does just stay there forever.
Would be difficult to get the orb without you guys, but you know,
Yes, but
you could certainly try.
I'm not telling you to go solo the boss.
The problem here, I feel, is the elves are probably gonna agree to help us, but not in the same capacity as the druid.
The way I see this going is they are probably going to agree to do something for us in exchange for the orb, but they are not going to be willing to go.
Metagame, the Elf Queen offered Aranas an artifact in exchange for the Orb of Storms. Didn't say anything about
Well,
this.
that isn't. If it's not the artifact of Lich King slaying, then I don't know if that's worth it.
No.
But that's of course it's a terrible situation for me. I don't like either.
Turns out the High Druid has the Empire, and thereby us, over a barrel.
Well, currently it's Aranas having us over a barrel because
Yep.
yeah, it's like I don't like my aunt.
Well, all that has been said in the exchange is suck it up, which is not very good.
Swallow your pride, more like, but yeah.
And in the metagame thing, I'd quite like to hear what we could negotiate out of the Elf Queen. Like, because we now have this offer, and we say your sister wants this, and they're offering us strategic advantages rather than this single artifact.
Well, she could just say, well, now I won't let you leave. Because you're gonna hand it to the High Druid.
But we don't have it, so we can't.
No, but she might think that we're gonna go and get it and give it to her, and that she might just, out of spite, not let us leave.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, I think the elves have already tried to get it by themselves.
Does Aranas consider the possibility that the elves might have actually gotten the Orb of Storms? He did utilize
He did
his
give them
five.
a lot of information about it, and got them to work with the priest from who wanted Leon. So it is a possibility they have it.
An entire 5 was used to suggest that.
Which makes all of this entirely pointless. Ray.
Or we suddenly are now fighting
Celebrate.
against it.
Ah, shit.
See, in that D&D campaign, we could be like, fucking message sending spell to fix all this.
So
Guess
then
the
you would have
elves.
handed the elves the Orb of Storm for nothing.
Greater teleport.
I mean, more like taking it from the Lich King for nothing.
Yeah. But we got then so much more out of it. You didn't know that at the time, of course, but...
Oh. I mean, I still think that at least I would rather side with the High Druid here and go get the orb and let her do the ritual than anything else, but I have no argument strong enough to really convince anyone.
You did suggest, Aurelia did suggest it, see what happens, and then just, don't go to the Wild Wood. Alter the deal or some shit.
Yeah. Just
I have altered the deal.
I want to
don't
get
hurt
something
anyone.
done that isn't parading around on some court talking to people hoping that they offer us something. When we have an offer lying on our tables.
Which is pretty damn awesome. It would solve all of our problems.
On the other hand, I neither in nor out of character, I could honestly try to convince Aranas that, being his own plaything is not so bad.
In character, I certainly could. Out of character, I perfectly understand.
Out of character, if it were going to happen, it wouldn't take place until after the campaign, Goger. You have no standing or merit.
Alright, that's definitely true. So you're wrong, Manaki, basically.
Shut your mouth.
Shit.
Yeah, but in character, it kind of fits.
Well, in character, Geráck also has a confrontation, too. That sense of duty, obligation.
Indeed. And the whole teaching of the Blessed Brothers and all of that. Basically, all he believes in.
Yeah, so Geráck has put aside his family goals, his questing to locate his brother and then save his father, and defeat the sorceress controlling him for this.
Yeah, in order to do this instead.
He doesn't really give a fuck about the fucking forest, even though it invigorated him and gave him more hit points.
No, he doesn't give a shit about that, but he doesn't give a shit about the world ending and the Lich King taking over and everyone starving to death.
That's why I asked before transportation arrives whether the group is the group needs to I need to know where we're going next session, because as it turns out, I didn't actually have any material planned for this choice. There was plenty of things to do this session. There was combat prepared as well, since I know that's been missing for a while, but what we ended up doing was not that, so...
Well, still interesting. So.
I mean, maybe I can offer this as an argument again for Manaki out of character as a player. Going to the Queen's Wood feels like we are abandoning yet another thread of possible action for the potential, maybe even plausible start of something else. But we're still leaving this.
I just feel it's another plot development, another thread to start stringing along.
We don't have that much time, though.
Who was it who said that new plot threads probably won't be starting that much because the game might be ending soon? Wasn't that Manaki?
Mm-hmm.
Now we're getting the fucking elves involved.
Manaki likes to deepen the plot.
Just inflating it at this point.
I don't noted, whatever the players want to do, I'm fine with. I just want to make sure that this isn't an Underdark situation, or a situation where just because Manaki has a strong personality, the entire group is going to follow along with it. I want to know that you guys want to go to a place, and then we'll go, or you'll attempt to go.
I can't say I honestly want to go there. The thing is, I see no way to convince Aranas as in the character, and I see no way to convince Manaki once...
I mean, if we need to convince Aranas, that can be done. But...
This might be a situation where we kind of need to find a compromise.
I can certainly sacrifice that sort of, and just do what the rest of the group wants, if that's what the rest of the group wants.
I mean, out of character, I'd quite like... Well, Tempus would quite like to see action rather than diplomacy.
Especially in a place where we have no real reason to be other than being looked at funny.
Meanwhile, we have been given a task that we can do to do action that has a direct result. I mean, Tempus sees that. Something that could either... One of two options that direly helps our strategic situation. Or, that's the option I see is, we have a strategic choice or we have diplomacy and with no immediate option of a reward. I mean, sure, there's that artifact, but that just brings us back to square, where we were before we headed to the Elf Queen.
It doesn't really solve anything.
No, the hope would be that we could do a similar ritual.
Yeah. I just doubt that we could.
But then I have the argument is that we have been given that information on that ritual. I mean, it's at that point where you're really just grabbing at threads to decide